Action.
All right, everybody, we're here. This is the field show coming up. Before we do the field, though, right now, the field is all kind of like the same. So we're going to make some variety there just by creating some dirt. God made dirt, but I can show you how to paint it. It's basically going to be patches of dirt in here, so we can see as it comes in there. Could be like a little path going off in the distance. When you're doing dirt, it's important to have variety of texture on there. If the dirt is lower, it could be more oval in shape. I'll come in here with a little raw umber and white, and I'll add some. So dirt in general is not really brown. People always think, oh, it's dirt, so I'll just bust out a lot of brown. Nah, it's not really all that brown. Unless it's in a garden. If it's gardening, sure, a lot of brown. However, poor nutrient soil is normally kind of gray or yellow even. Oh, speaking of yellow, I'll even add some yellow to it. That'd be nice. All right, so big, bold brush strokes. I'm kind of a little bit of yellow. I'll tie in with the field and stuff as well. Tap it. I'm not even trying to blend it out. I'm just kind of tapping the textures in there, like a little. And the shape of it is kind of random, but it's like I don't do any of these shapes. Make it look like it's on the ground. It used to be those shapes. All right, so then I'll take a little magic toothbrush, get some more dirt texture, and then I'll take a little bit of black, smash that around a little bit, and then take your hand, spank it a little bit. Spank, 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 spank. All right, so now I got some basic dirt texture. I'll go back over maybe a little bit of highlights. So come in here, and I got some on the rest of it. So I'll do little highlights on some of these little rocks. So all you have to do to make it look like rocks is go over a highlight on top of one of those big blobs. So I have these little blobs here. So if I just do like a little boop, boop, little highlight right over on the top of those things. Then I can do a solid white one. So, solid white one there, maybe one over here, there. So now I got a little variety of like little rocks and things. All right, so that'll give me some depth. Really for dirt, you should go over that again. This is like kind of a quick version. So now with the grass and stuff, good base coat, starting horizontal. I'm gonna use a large bright brush for the background. And to create depth, your grass should be painted in different ways, not all the same. So the background here is she has a little bit of orange in there as well, some burnt sienna, which I need. So I'm going to use burnt sienna, one of my favorite colors, and a little brown for the grass. It's not like pure green, and it gives me more variety. Burnt sienna is kind of a reddish brown, so orange works really well with that. I'll do a little bit of both. Oh, and I have all those wonderful colors right there. Okay, so now with the grass, I'll come in here. I'll mix up like a little combination. I have yellow, maybe a little bit of orange. Test it out here a little bit. So it's going to be mostly flat back here. So I'm not going to do like a lot of it. So she has a great flat base. For contrast, I'll get some contrast in there, but not like tons. So I'm going to get maybe add a little tint to it. White, for instance. More yellows and what have you. And the brush strokes that I'm doing now, they don't represent like blades of grass yet. These are like big chunks. So you start with big chunks, then we'll go to details later. All right, so now I'm gonna add some burnt sienna in there. Come in there as well. And I'm having contrast problems. So right now I don't have a lot of contrast. I'll deepen that up with some darker raw umber. And get some of that in there. As I come down, once again, these are just patches of grass. Then, as I come forward, I want the size to get quite a bit larger. So here, I'm gonna come in there, brighter contrast even. Then scumble that in there, voiding patterns. Right now, it's kind of a general base. And then when we do some really good grass, that'll make the whole thing look good, even though most of it's going to be mediocre on purpose. And And then I'll do raw umber and burnt sienna. I'll get some darker grass in here. So in here, I'll start dark at the base. And I can flick it up into the grass this time. It'll look like you're looking into the grass, kind of. All right, so that's another little patch of grass right there. Then maybe some more yellows. I'll do yellow, a little bit of white tint of it since it's a little bit darker. So this is darker, so now this is going to show up a lot easier. And the more contrast you have, the better they need to look. Milk the kitten every once in a while, clean edge, and then skip around. So now I have this light value. I'll go back into some of this with the patches. You don't want rows of this, rows of that. You don't want that. All right, so then I'll maybe add a little more burnt sienna, so I'm changing color again. And with burnt sienna, you may want to rinse off your brush. The reason is because if you have white in a burnt sienna, not the most attractive color ever. I mean, it's burnt sienna, so it's still pretty cool, but not like the coolest. Then here, I'll go like a big blob right there. And I'll get rid of the blob by having some of the edges be a little more pronounced. And down here, I'll even have the grass get taller right here. This will be my tallest grass. And I'll start, when I do the tall grass, like where it ends against the dirt, I'm gonna go super dark. And the reason is, because you're looking into the grass. So down here in the base, super dark base, and flick it up into the lighter values. This is step number 2 for grass like this. Now, dark base, where you're looking into it more. Then here it gets kind of blurry and soft. Don't really see tons of details on purpose. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch brushes. Now I'm gonna get more of a smaller, bright brush for some of the details. And you can make the grass as high as you want right about here. So this, we only see the tops of the grass. You can't really tell exactly what you're looking at. Here, though, is going to establish how high the grass is. And without this, we'll never know. So now I'll come in here with this. Some individual blades going right over that. So I'll go like super tall. Milk the kitten. Drag it down. That was a little bit of a thick one there, but it's good. I'll lap some of them so it goes right into the grass, into the field. All right, so then I'll like tap that up there. And with this, I'll come in here wider, and they get skinny. So I'll do some more like the character blades now. So watch this, where it goes wide and super skinny. I'll bend one so it's like broken. A little variety, it makes a big difference. Now I'll go in and even make it darker on the bottom, like super dark on parts of it, like right here and there. Careful about not to go too fast with it, but now it goes really deep into that grass. And you can have some areas in here that also are a little bit darker, not the whole thing. So this isn't grass, this is more like a pit or a little negative void in there. Blur that out a little bit. Now we're starting to see the contrast that's coming there. This, going back there, you could add more contrast. I could add maybe a little more orange, more variety of color. This is the top parts of the grass though. And with a small brush, this is a little more detail. Tops of grass there. Over here, we'll do the same thing. Careful about patterns though. You don't want like patterns to get in there. With this, I'll just kind of like, now I'm just doing the tippy tops of them. Tippy tops, I'll do a tint. Tint for the tippy top. All right, up here I'll do the same thing. Tints. I'm about ready to shade. Now up here, it's going to be a lot flatter. Blur it out so there's less contrast. I'll come back in here, maybe a little more white on that one. So stand out just a little bit more. And that could be almost it. However, we have one more brush to go. So we went medium bright, small bright. Now for the details, I'm going to bust out my little guy. That is a cute one. Come in there with that one and do the tint of it. I'll add some. You could add some like little guys on top, like right here, like pollen, or the weeds are flowering a little bit. contrast. I got some of the little flowers in there, blossoms or whatever, weeds. So now I have a little more contrast in there. And then I'll come into the really skinny ones and get some really nice skinny blades. All right, so then to get this to blend out a little bit more, I'll take a shadow color and blend that into the dirt. Black, dark brown, scumble, and then keep it kind of wet, like it's just sitting there. And then I'll tap it out a little bit. Blur, make it soft. Now it's like a little chunk of grass looking at. You can do that, skip around a little bit. You could add more detail to the back if you wanted to, or you could leave it that kind of hazy and then really exaggerate the contrast of your trees that are behind it. That could also look really good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the grass show from near to far, far away and close and dirt.